Hello everybody, it's The Worm and welcome back to Steins. Last time, we went on a date. Yes, that's right. Our boy Okabe got himself a date. And of course, with a teacher like Krisu, how could it have gone wrong, you know? We got our dating 101, we got our preparations complete, and you know, all things considered, it wasn't too bad. They went and got something to eat and then had a nice walk about town. Of course, it wasn't perfect. They apparently didn't talk much, so it was a few hours of just walking around, but, you know, depending on the couple, that could be good in and of itself. So as long as Lukako was happy, although I'm pretty sure Okabe said at one point that Lukako was kind of just... I think he said her smile was a bit forced, so... Not perfect, but, you know, first dates rarely are. So, yeah, that happened. What's more interesting for our purposes here was we learned about how our Okabe met his Lukako. Of course, this was when Lukako was a guy. And, well, the story in and of itself wasn't particularly crazy in any... Well, it was crazy. It was crazy in some ways, but in other ways, it was interesting due to what happened afterward. Specifically, it's not what happened in the story that's interesting, but rather some of Lukaku's comments afterward. Because the Lukako we know now, who's a girl, made some comments that don't seem to make sense if we think back to the story of how Lukako and Okabe met. The photographers, I guess you can call them, were trying to get pictures of Lukako thinking that he was a girl when he wasn't. Okabe stopped them, and then, well, Okabe stepped in, and Lukako revealed himself to be a boy, which drove off the photographers. And Lukako thought that Okabe would be disappointed because he came to a boy's rescue rather than a girl's, but Okabe was able to, you know, smoothly just get past that and say, hey, it doesn't really matter. Of course, then his Chuni side took over, and that's how he became Lukako's mentor. But yes, the girl Lukako that we know now said something like... Oh, what was the actual phrase? It was something like, what you said to me... What you said to me there is what made me fall for you. And she referenced him saying, it doesn't matter who... It doesn't matter... It wasn't that specific. I'd have... You know what? Hang on. I can check. I have the capability to do that. Give me 1 second. Okay, I found it. I found the exact words, which were, and I quote, I was really surprised when you said it didn't matter, but at the same time it really made me happy. Okay, simple enough. So, again, that doesn't seem to make sense with... It makes sense with the original scenario because he was a guy and he revealed he wasn't a girl. But why would the girl Lukako have said that sort of thing? So, Okabe came to the conclusion, or came to the theory that, well, maybe Lukako has remembered another Worldline's memories versus, or as similar to how Feyris was able to do so. Which is very interesting, and there's a lot of implications, I think, to that, if that turns out to be the case. But I want to say something else. It's something that, you know, I don't know how likely this is, but it's a bit of a troubling idea. So, it's not troubling if, say, both Lukakos feel the same thing. Okay? But I don't know. It was just a weird thought that I had while the day was going by. But imagine a scenario where, again, this might just be out there. This might just be total nonsense I'm about to say. But imagine a scenario where the guy Lukako actually liked Okabe, but the girl one didn't. And then somehow the girl Lukako got all of Guy Lukako's memories. And then there's some sort of weird... I don't know what to think of that, because we've heard from Krisu that the whole time leaping phenomenon, it can be dangerous depending on how it goes, because, again, it's supposed to only be memories. So again, I don't think we're dealing with a time leap situation, but it seems to be something similar, if Lukaku's suddenly getting the memories of another world line. But, yeah, it's weird. It's just a weird thought that I had. Like, what if two sets of memories that conflict in a weird way? Because you could argue that it's another... It's not even... Yeah, it's different from time leaping in that it's not a future version of yourself. The whole thing with Ferris and what's potentially going on with Lukako is it's a different version of you entirely. How could that affect a person if you're suddenly hit with that, you know? It's just weird. Again, I don't think it's likely what I just said, that it's going to be the guy who liked... It's not unlikely that the guy Lukako may have liked Okabe, but rather that the guy liked him, but the girl didn't. But it's just a weird thought that I had. I'm not sure if I made any sense there. I'd have to think about it a bit more and maybe write it down and then maybe make sense of it a bit better. But essentially, the idea is, can another version of you sort of take you over? Does that make sense? That's kind of what I'm trying to say. Because at least from our perspective within Okabe, it's always been the same set of memories, same consciousness, and that's made things relatively easy to deal with. But with some of these weird phenomenons that are occurring with Ferris and maybe Lukako, now it's starting to get a bit confusing. Yeah, we still don't know much about reading Steiner, and now this whole new phenomenon, I don't know how to think about it. Anyway, let's stop rambling, because I'm sure you've noticed, but I feel like there are times that I get to a certain point where I just stop making sense. So, let's move on. We're continuing our time as Lukako's boyfriend, so let's see how that goes. The next morning, I head to the shrine to meet with Lukako. She's already waiting in the courtyard. When she sees me, she smiles and waves her hand. Too cute. Must resist. What is it you're resisting, exactly? Good morning. Morning. Where are we going today? Before that. Yes? I make up my mind and throw out the question. Yeah, he did say he was going to ask about whether she had gotten those memories. Do you have any memories of when you were a guy? Lukako twitches for a moment, and then she hangs her head. No, I don't. Really? Lukako just nods stiffly. I consider a more forceful approach, but the words of that dating manual blaze inside my head. Whatever you do, don't make the girl sad. You might get dumped. If I get dumped, then what will happen to our 4-day agreement? Lukako might refuse to turn back into a guy. No, Lukako's not like that. Mayuri's life hangs in the balance, so I'm sure no matter what I say, she'll turn back. Or is it naive of me to think that? Either way, even though I'm doing this to save Mayuri, I can't just trample on Lukaku's pure maidenly heart. Neither one of us speaks. Mutual distrust? Suspicion? Discomfort? One word could shatter our temporary relationship. Luka is the first to break the silence. Excuse me. Luka is the first to break the suffocating silence. I'm sorry. Let's cancel today's date. Lukako bows her head and goes back into the shrine office. I hurt her. I feel guilty, but at the same time relieved. I hate myself for it. No, that was it. Mysterious satellite suddenly vanishes. What on earth is happening? Instead of returning to the lab, I stand on the bridge in front of the station and gaze blankly at the stream of people. Ferris might be visiting the lab. Ferris was at the lab on this day when I first came to this world line. My actions shouldn't have influenced Mayuri's, so she should have called Ferris over to show her the costumes. Right now I don't want to see anybody. I need to think. But try as I might, no ideas come, no solutions. Lukako agreed to go back to being a guy if I went out with her for a time. I've stayed faithful to that, so... Faithful? How? I just made a huge mistake back there. I've done nothing but make Lukaku sad. Tomorrow. Tomorrow is the 15th, the day Komima opens, the day Mayuri dies. At the very least, I need to make our relationship last until that evening. Tomorrow is the end. But I'm not confident I can show Lukaku a fun time. Alright, instead of fussing over a date, I'll just try something that won't make Lukaku sad. What will that be, I wonder? Alright, it's the 15th. The day of destiny. The next morning, after Mayuri and Daru have left for Ariake, I head to the shrine to pick up Lukaku. We hop the train at Akiba Station. When she looks askance at me, I tell her we're going to see Mayuri. Today, it won't just be the two of us. I don't know what to say when we're alone. I'm afraid I'll just hurt her again. It's time to try something different. When we get off the train at Tokyo Big Sight, Lukaku stares in wonder at the scene spread before her. People, people, people. People as far as the eye can see. Welcome to Komima, the Otaku Festival. It's the first day, so Big Sight's more crowded than usual. This is my plan, to take Lukaku to Komima. I'm not making her cosplay, of course. Lukaku wouldn't even do it at Mayuri's request, and I don't want to force her to do anything she doesn't want to do. We're just here to look and have fun. The first order of business is to hook up with Mayuri and Daru. Those two live and breathe Komima, so I'm sure they'll have a lot to talk about. Conversation will flow, and I'll be off the hook. How wonderful to have friends you can count on. Okay, now you've jinxed it, Okabe. You've jinxed yourself. Of course, bringing a date to Komima is a surefire way to earn myself the hatred of otaku everywhere, but no matter. I'll endure their contempt if that's what it takes to make Lukaku happy. So resolved, I strike out through the crowd toward our designated rendezvous point. Lukaku, clearly overwhelmed by the sheer number of people, struggles to follow behind. There we go. That's what I needed to hear. Near the edge of the parking lot, I see petite Mayuri waving her hands high. There aren't as many people here. Welcome to Komima, Luka-chan. Yeah. It's my first time coming here, but it's amazing.
ゆっくりしていってね。
Take it easy.
ダルは
Where's Daru?
あのね、ダルくんはグッズを手に入れるために並んでる最中だから抜け出せないんだって。
Daru-kun's in line for promo goods. He couldn't come.
ひとしきり戦利品をゲットしたら合流するかもって言ってたよ。
He said maybe he'll join us later, if he survives the battle. Damn, that means he won't join us for at least another hour. Couldn't he forgo the battle just this once? Lukako's eyes dart from place to place. She's clearly uncomfortable in the chaotic atmosphere. There's still some awkwardness between us after what happened yesterday. Even on the train ride, we barely spoke to one another. What's the point in being a couple if it just turns out like this? It was easier to talk when we weren't supposed to be boyfriend and girlfriend. Lukako seemed to enjoy herself more too. Was it a mistake to bring her to Komima? Well, Lukako didn't refuse. Even when I told her we were going to Komima, she just nodded obediently.
今日はマユシーが会場を案内してあげるよ。って言ってもね、人が多いから邪魔にならないようにしなくちゃ。
Mayushi will show you around, okay? There's lots of people, so we've got to be careful.
まずはコスプレ会場に行ってそれから中に入ろうかな。
First, we'll go to the cosplay area, and then we'll go inside. Mayuri is more cheerful than usual. She must be happy to have us here.
ねえねえ、二人とも何が見たい？
Hey, is there anything you guys want to see?
ルカ子見たいものはあるか？
Lukako, is there anything you want to see?
いえ。
Oh, no. Lukako shakes her head.
よくわからないので、岡部さんの見たいものを見に行きたいです。
It's my first time, so if Okabe-san wants to see something, I'll go see it.
俺は別にそれほど興味があるわけじゃない。
I'm not particularly interested in anything. Lukako looks unhappy. Crap, I should have answered like that.
ねえねえ、ルカちゃん、コスプレ会場に行ったらね、絶対にコスプレに対する考え方が変わるよ。
Hey, Luka-chan, if you come to the cosplay area, I'm sure you'll change your mind about cosplaying. Mayuri talks happily to Lukako. I'm glad I chose to rely on this ditz who can't read the mood.
恥ずかしいとか、そういうのはちっともなくてね。みんなとっても楽しそうなんだから。
It's not embarrassing at all, see? Because everyone's having fun.
マユシーのコスを着てくれてるレイヤーさん、楓ちゃんと吹雪ちゃんって言うんだけど、二人のことも紹介するね。
Kaede-chan and Fubuki-chan are wearing Mayushi's costumes. I'll introduce you, okay?
でね、できれば明日も来てほしいな。そしたらね、オカリンとルカちゃんの分のコスも用意しておくから。
You should come tomorrow, too. I'll bring costumes for you and we can cosplay together.
オカリンにはね、コードジアスのゼロサム様コスが似合うと思うんだ。
I think Ocarine would be perfect as Zero Sum from Code Geass. Zero Sum, fictional, the protagonist of Code Geass. He is the young noble of the rebellion who hides his identity behind the mask. Code Geass, fictional, a smash hit TV anime series broadcast in 2006. The story revolves around a young man who obtains a magical eye that can control minds and uses it to start a revolution. You know, now that you've... now that I've read that, that actually sounds perfect for Okabe. Mayuri, you've got an eye for this sort of thing.
オカリンが一緒ならね、ルカちゃんも安心してコスプレできるでしょ。
You'll cosplay if Ocarine does it with you, right, Luka-chan?
どうかな。
You will, won't you? Mayushi thinks it's a great idea.
却下だな。
Not a chance.
ごめんなさい。
Sorry.
そんな。
Mayuri slumps her shoulders in disappointment. In the end, Lukako and I got fed up with the amount of people and left Ariake early. We took to the direct shuttle bus to Akiba that only runs during Komima, but it was so cramped inside I thought I was going to die. This is the, this is not going well music.
な。
My goodness, they're sighing back and forth. I don't think that's a good sign. By the time we get back to Akiba, Lukako and I are exhausted. My feet feel like blocks of lead, and I don't have the energy to even attempt conversation. The two of us schlep back to the shrine without speaking a word, like Spanish monks under a vow of silence. Lukako doesn't raise a single complaint. But taking her to Komima was obviously a mistake. Lukako's expression has been stiff ever since we met up with Mayuri. Maybe she's still traumatized by otaku? That's a good point, actually. The first time I met Lukako, he was being harassed by otaku. Maybe they left a bad impression. We don't talk. We spent most of the day shoulder to shoulder with strangers. I can probably count on my fingers the words I said directly to Lukako today. When we arrive at the shrine, our time as a couple will end. So, this is our last chance to talk as boyfriend and girlfriend. But I'm confused. What should I talk about? Try thinking about things we have in common. The Demon Sword Samadare, the Seishin Zanma School of Swordsmanship. But Kurisu said to avoid Chunibyo topics, and the dating manual concurred. What else is there? Finally dawns on me. There's nothing else Lukako and I share. Silence dominates the shrine. The silence should be calming, but it's not. I've safely escorted Lukako home. Mayuri's death is just 3 hours away. The temporary relationship between me and Lukako ends here. Now I just need Lukako to give me her mother's pager number. However, is it really okay to let it end like this? In the end, what have I done for Lukako? I haven't done squat, have I? This feels like we're heading towards a choice, maybe. All I've done is hurt her. Suddenly, Lukako starts sobbing. She covers her mouth with both hands, but can't stop the tears from pouring from her eyes. Can't stop the tears pouring from her eyes.
Lukako.
When I approach her, Lukako pulls back. Lukako wipes the corners of her eyes, but the tears keep flowing, forming a glistening line down each cheek. I'm speechless. I have no idea what to do. The girl is crying before my eyes. It's my duty as a man to comfort her. I know that, and yet no words come. I just stand there like a useless statue. The cause of Lukako's tears is undoubtedly me. I didn't treat her right as my girlfriend, even if it was only temporary arrangement. And now it ends with me watching as Lukako cries. Lukako, I'm the one who did this to her. I'm the cause of her grief. And yet... Thank you so much. She thanks me and bows her head.
Huh?
She lifts her head and smiles shyly through her tears. I was really happy. that we could be together. That's a lie.
岡部さんを好きになれてよかったです。
I'm glad I fell in love with you. That has to be a lie. To my surprise, Lukako takes my hand in hers. Her hand is very warm and delicate. This is the first time I've touched her since we became a couple. And will be the last. Lukako places a note in my hand, and then she pulls away. She bows her head again.
それじゃ
Bye now. Lukako turns her back to me, then disappears into the shrine office. I look at the note. There's a number written there. Probably her mother's pager number. She kept her promise. But I didn't keep mine. I can't let it end like this. I run full speed back to the lab, ignoring Kurisu's calls to stop, and I slap on the headgear and leap into the past. Oh, not even a choice. Wow. Whoa, wait, what? That is not a very... It's not a very large time leap there. Okay. I don't know what to think about this whole Lukako situation at the moment. I just think I need to wait for more information. I regain consciousness in front of Akihabara Station. Lukako's next to me. We're about to board the train for Komima. Lukako looks a little anxious, but she doesn't raise a single complaint. The shuttle bus pulls up. The huge line of people begins to move. We can't go to Komima like this. Shaking off my time leap-induced vertigo, I take Lukako by the hand.
あの
ついてこい。
Come on. Once we get out of the line, I let go of Lukako's hand and start walking.
岡部さん、バス来てますけど。
Okabe-san, the bus is here.
コミマに行くのは中止だ。
We're not going to Komima.
俺は好きにやらせてもらう。
This time, we're doing things my way. You know, if I had to make a guess, I would hope, or I would think, and what he said just kind of reinforces that, maybe he's going to concentrate on doing something that they have in common, which is the Chunibyo stuff. I don't know. Because at least you'd think... I don't know, I think Okabe was kind of on the right track there. How, since becoming boyfriend and girlfriend, they started acting differently with each other, instead of how they would normally be. So I don't know, maybe him acting as he usually does would sort of put things right, in a way. So, at least that's what I get out of this statement here.
岡部さん、どこへ？
Okabe-san, where are we going?
岡部さん。
I keep walking with Lukako's hand in mine, ignoring everything else. Lukako looks bewildered at first, but eventually she says no more and just starts following me with a sad expression. We arrive at Yanabayashi Shrine, a place devoid of visitors, where an aura of peace and dignity dominates, where the cries of cicadas resound. Lukako's home. Finally, I turned to face Lukaku. Instead of letting go, I grasp her warm hand even tighter than before. Perhaps it's the heat, or perhaps it's our nervousness, but our hands are damp with sweat. But still, I don't let go. Lukaku is hanging her head. She might cry at any moment.
これで恋人関係は終わりっていうことですよね。
This means our relationship is over, doesn't it? Her lips tremble, her voice trembles. I summon my resolve and answer her with a laugh.
何を勘違いしている?
Huh. What are you talking about?
俺たちの恋人関係はまだ終了してないぜ。
Our couple phase isn't over yet. I strike a pose and mimic a line from a popular card-battling anime. Until I witnessed Mayuri's death, this was how I acted all the time. Now it takes some effort, but I still have it in me.
でも
But
さっき言っただろ。俺の好きにさせてもらうと。
weren't you listening? This time we're doing things my way. I cannot believe. Okay. For so long in the beginning stages of this game, I was getting so sick of the Chunibyo and was just wishing it would go away. And now, finally, we've reached a point where he puts on the Chunibyo, and I'm thinking, good move, Okabe. This was the right decision. This is what you had to do. Weren't you listening? This time we're doing things my way.
さあ、我が弟子よ。
Now, my disciple.
今すぐ妖刀サミダレを持ってくるのだ。
Bring forth the demon sword Samidare. The wind blows. The tree growing over the main building rustles its leaves in response. Lukaku looks at me blankly. Tears form in the corners of her eyes.
なんです。
What?
なんですだと？決まっているだろう。精神残魔流の修行だ。
Isn't it obvious? It's time to continue your training in the Seishin Zanma School of Swordsmanship.
修行
My training?
この2ヶ月近く俺たち2人でやってきた修行忘れたのか？
Have you already forgotten what I told you? Or taught you?
いえ。でも岡部さん。
No, but Oka...
今日まだ
It's Kyoma.
我が名を忘れたのか、ルカコ。
Have you forgotten my true name, Lukaku?
俺は狂気のマッドサイエンティスト法院京馬だ。
I am the insane mad scientist, Hoin Kyoma. Swallowing my embarrassment, I strike another pose.
男だとか女だとかそういうところで俺は混乱してルカコとの距離をうまくつかめずにいた。
I was so caught up in the question of your gender that I lost sight of our true relationship.
だがな、俺とルカコの関係は初めから決まっていたんだ。そのことにようやく気づいたのだ。
But now I finally realize the truth. Our relationship was decided from the very beginning.
決まっていたって何がですか？
Decided how?
俺は男でお前は女で俺たちは今日までの仮初めの恋人。
I may be a man and you may be a woman, but our temporary relationship as a couple? I take a deep breath. I gently comb my fingers through Lukaku's hair. I twist my lips into a grin.
そんなことはどうでもいい。
Matters not.
俺は俺でありルカコはルカコであり
I am I. Lukaku is Lukaku.
ルカコは俺の弟子だ。
And Lukaku is my disciple. As I gently stroke her hair, Lukaku puts her warm hand on top of mine. The tears collected in the corners of her eyes suddenly fall.
そうです。僕じゃなくて、京馬さんは確かに僕の師匠です。
Yes, of course. Okabe, I mean, Kyoma-san is my master.
よく言った。さあルカ子よ、サミダレを持ってくるのだ。
Well said. Now, Lukako, bring forth Samadare.
はい。
At once.
待っててくださいね。すぐ取ってきますから。ここにいてくださいね。
Just a moment. I'll be right back. Please stay here, okay?
どこにも行かないさ。だから早く行くんだ。
I'm not going anywhere, so hurry. Lukako reluctantly lets go of my hand, shyly turns away from me, and heads to the shrine office. We spend 4 hours training just like we used to. Practice swings with the demon sword. Stories of the sword's history. Lectures on the intricacies of Seishin Zanma swordsmanship. All fabricated from my Chunibyo delusions. I talk. Lukako, dressed now in her Miko robes, listens with rapt attention. Occasionally we take a break, sit on the shrine stairway, and eat the sweet rice balls Lukako's mother brings us. And that's how we spend our extraordinarily ordinary 4 hours.
Yosh, 今日はここまで。
Alright, that's it for today. Lukako lowers her stance and slowly sheathes the demon sword, Samadare. She looks so beautiful and majestic standing there in flowing white robes, sword shining in her hands. I find myself mesmerized once again. Lukako bows, snapping me out of it.
ありがとうございました。
Thank you.
ちょっとだけ強くなれた気がします。
I think I got a little stronger.
謙遜しなくていい。今日、お前は精神三魔流奥義の一つ、32式さくらんぼを得得した。
No need for humility. Today you mastered one of the Seishin Zanma style secrets, type 32 Cherry Bomb.
だが過信はするな。お前はまだまだ弱いんだからな。
But don't get cocky, for you are still weak.
はい。もっともっと京馬さんに教えてもらいたいです。
Yes, sir. I want to learn even more from you. The breeze feels nice after the sweat we worked up. We savor our comfortable fatigue as we drink the barley tea Lukako's mother brought for us.
久しぶりに京馬さんのお話聞けた気がします。
I feel like it's been a long time since you last taught me, Kyoma-san.
ここ何日か、俺の意識はマニュアルという恐ろしき封印術式により不安定な状態だったのだ。
For the past few days, my mind has been under the dreadful influence of the foul grimoire known as the Manual.
だがもう完全復活した。心配かけたな。
But I've fully recovered. Do not worry.
よかった。いつもの京馬さんが戻ってきてくれて。
Thank goodness. You're back to your old self. Lukako answers happily. And then her expression turns serious as if she's made up her mind about something.
昨日僕に聞きましたよね。男だった時の記憶が残っているかって。
Yesterday you asked me if I had any memories from when I was a guy.
おう。
Oh yeah. Lukako looks away. I see her hands fidgeting in her lap. Finally, with trembling lips, she speaks.
僕覚えているんです。
Wow. Okay, they kind of dragged it out, but oh man. Okay. What precisely do you remember, Lukako? No surprise. I expected she'd remember after what I experienced with Ferris.
覚えているというか、 なんて言ったらいいのか。
I remember, or actually, how should I say it?
とても儚い感じ。
It's a very transient feeling.
儚い
Transient.
はっきり思い出したわけじゃなくて、記憶の海の底の方というか、頭の
I can't clearly remember it, but at the bottom of my sea of memories, well, in my head, Then Lukako starts pawing at the air above and to the right of her head.
この辺にあるような感じです。
It feels like it's around here somewhere. I don't really get it.
とにかく覚えているんだな。
Anyway, you remember. Lukako nods.
すみません。昨日は嘘をついちゃいました。
I'm sorry I lied yesterday.
気にするな。この俺、法王院京馬を欺いたのだから大したものだ。
Don't worry about it. You should be proud to have fooled the great Hoin Kyoma.
そのおかげでお母さんのポケベルの番号も僕聞かなくても知っているんです。
So because I remembered, I knew Mom's pager number without having to ask. Okay, that's specific. See, this sounds like it's very vague. But this sounds very specific. So you do remember very specific things. She takes out a piece of paper upon which is written the number.
今日はどんな結果になってもこれを渡すつもりでした。
I was going to give you this no matter how things turned out today.
それからもう一つ、
And one more thing. One more thing?
記憶のことと関係しているかどうかわからないんですけど、
I don't know if it's related to my memories, but
古いパソコンのありかについて。
it's about that old computer. Now that I didn't expect.
IBN 5100のことか。
The IBN 5100.
はい。多分そうだと思います。
Yes, I think so. True, Lukako did seem like she knew something about the IBN 5100. Plus, Luka's dad confirmed that it was here at the shrine. And then one day, it suddenly disappeared. Does Lukako know where it is now?
それが事実なら。ルカ子、お前は男に戻らなくても済むかもしれない。
If that's true, Lukako, then you might not have to turn back into a guy. But Lukako faintly shakes her head.
それは無理だと思います。
I don't think it's that easy.
なんで？
But why not? Lukako grips my hand.
ついてきてください。案内します。
Please come with me. I'll show you. She looks into my eyes. Lukako is no longer crying. In the fading sunlight, her eyes shine with firm resolve. She brings me to Daibiru. I look up at the huge, towering building.
ここに IBN 5100が。
The IBN 5100 is here?
そっちじゃなくてですね。
Not there. Lukako faces away from Daibiru and points to a coin locker tucked in a narrow alley.
去年のお正月前、
It happened last year, just before New Year's. Lukako walks up to the coin locker as she talks.
その時までうちの神社にあのパソコンはあったんです。
The computer was at our shrine until then. Until New Year's. That's a contradiction. It was only 2 weeks ago that I found the IBN 5100 at Yanabayashi's shrine. Which means I really haven't returned to the original world line.
僕のせいなんです。 僕がシンジのお手伝いで倉庫をお掃除していた時に
It's all my fault. I was helping out at the shrine, sweeping the storehouse when
誤って壊しちゃったんです。
I broke it by accident.
壊した？
You broke it? Lukako nods.
でももしお父さんに知られたら怒られると思って、それで
But I thought Dad would get mad at me if he found out, so
こっそりここまで持ってきてコインロッカーの中に隠したんです。
I brought it here and hid it in a coin locker.
よくここまで持ってこられたな。あれは尋常じゃない重さだぞ。
It must have been tough bringing it all the way out here. That thing weighs a ton.
家にあった台車を使いました。そのせいで台車まで壊れちゃったんですけど。
I used a pushcart from home. It broke too. Even so, it must have been hard to get here with just a pushcart. Maybe she went running on adrenaline.
京馬さんが探してるって聞いたとき、僕すごくびっくりして。
When I heard you were searching for it, I was really surprised.
本当のことずっと話そうって思ってたんですけど、嫌われるかもしれないって考えたら言い出せませんでした。
I know I should have told you the truth, but I thought you'd hate me for it, so I couldn't say anything.
バカだな。そんなことでお前を嫌うわけがないだろう。何しろお前は俺の弟子なのだからな。
Nonsense. I wouldn't hate you for that. No matter what, you're still my disciple.
はい。
I know. Lukako takes the locker key out of her pocket.
もう1年半以上放置したから管理会社に持っていかれちゃったかもしれませんけど。
It's already been more than half a year, so the management probably took it away.
1年半放置か。だとしたら絶望的だな。
Half a year? I guess it's hopeless then. This locker charges 200 yen per day. Normally, if a coin locker goes unpaid for more than a few days, the management retrieves the contents. And if the owner doesn't claim it within a month, it's usually thrown away. Meaning the IBN 5100 is already. Lukako goes to a large locker at the end of the row, inserts the key, and tries the lock.
あ、鍵かかってないみたいです。
Ah, it's not locked.
確定だな。
I guess that settles it. Sure enough, Lukako opens the door to reveal an empty locker.
すみません。
Sorry. Either way, it doesn't matter. There's no point in retrieving a broken IBN 5100. But I don't tell her that.
お前が責任を感じなくてもいい。
It's not your fault.
俺が安易に世界を歪ませたのが一番の元凶なんだからな。
I'm the one who messed with the timeline. Everything that happened is my fault.
京馬さん。
Kyoma-san. That's why I must bear the burden. Mayuri's pain, Suzuha's pain, Fayrus's pain, and now Lukako's pain. Something occurs to me. What if I send a D-mail telling Lukako not to sweep the storehouse? How would that change this world line? Would the IBN 5100 stay at Yanabayashi's shrine ready for me to retrieve in August as I planned? Or as planned? Part of me wants to try sending that D-mail. If it works, Lukako could stay a girl. No, I mustn't give in to the temptation. My goal is to restore the world line, not warp it further. Fix the past to save Mayuri. That is my mission.
僕の記憶、なんだか奇妙なんです。
There's something strange about my memories.
奇妙とは？
Strange how?
僕の記憶の中には、あのパソコンのことについての2つの記憶が混ざっていて。
Inside my mind, There are two memories about that old computer mixed together.
一つはパソコンを壊した僕の記憶。もう一つはそんなパソコンは全然知らないし、倉庫のお掃除もしなかった僕の記憶。
The first is the memory of me breaking it. The other has no memory of it at all.
男だった僕はパソコンを壊してません。倉庫の掃除の代わりに本殿のお掃除をしていたから。
The male me didn't break the computer. He swept the main shrine instead of the storehouse. So, Lukako swept the storehouse because she became a girl? Because she swept the storehouse, she broke the IBN 5100 and deposited it into the coin locker. As a result, the IBN 5100 will never reach me. Is this the butterfly effect?
やっぱり僕が男に戻るしか方法はないみたいです。
So there's no choice. I have to go back to being a guy. There's no longer any doubt in her eyes. There's no choice. She knows it as well as I. Okay. We'll stop there, I think. Well, we've got some answers. Quite a few answers. We know why the IBN is missing. We know where it went. And we did get confirmation that Lukako does have memories of his male self, of her male self. And it's interesting because at first she said it was kind of vague, a vague transient thing. And yet she has very specific memories, like the pager number and how her male self didn't sweep the same location she swept. And obviously the different version of how she met Okabe. So, yeah, that's very interesting. So, I guess we're kind of going into the epilogue of this little character route here, I think. It doesn't look like there's going to be a decision to be made. It looks like there doesn't have to be a decision here, since both Okabe and Lukako kind of agree that this is necessary. So that's interesting. So do you think this confirms the idea that the male Lukako did have feelings for Okabe? And I guess luckily the female Lukako also had feelings for him, I guess? It is interesting to me that she chose to reference the male memories there, and rather than her own. So, yeah, sorry for that ramble at the beginning of the episode. You know, you go down a train of thought, but you don't kind of condense it. And so, had a few of these various thoughts rumbling around my head, and I hadn't been able to get them all condensed into a simple couple sentences. Yeah, at least I hope I made some sense there. Because at least we can see I think there's some potential for some kind of terrifying scenarios here. But at least in this instance, it doesn't look like it led to anything bad. It looks like both the male and female Lukako were similar enough that even when the female Lukako got all of the male memories, she's still pretty much the same person. Well, obviously, she's the same person. But I think you know what I mean. I think there was a risk that Because, I mean, just go back to what Chrissy was explaining about the time leap. You could... I think what her example was, it was something like, imagine you send it to a kid version of yourself. You'd get a pretty crazy combination in that instance. It'd be the kid you, with the kid's consciousness, but suddenly the memories of an adult. And that could cause, you know, some problems, I guess. But yeah, I will say, the scene where Okabe finally decided to just be himself, and they got back to that sort of master-disciple relationship, that was kind of sweet. That was nice. So, I will say that the route is feeling a bit better for me at the moment. So, next time, I guess we will round out this little part of the story and see what happens next. Alright, I've been The Worm, this has been Steins Gate. I hope you're doing alright, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.